Jack Nicholson slits Marlon Brando's throat off screen. This is spoilers.
This is spoiler.
Hello.
So did I do a good job of spoiling that? Right
That's exactly what happened. That's what 2 hours and 6 minutes led up to.
Whoa, don't trash on the movie.
I'm not
Let's get
trashing.
into
I'm
the
not trashing.
themes. Let's get in deep here. Let's get in deep. First of all, just everyone introduce themselves. Vince, go ahead. Start it off.
Vince the intern out here in Denver, Colorado, out in the wild, wild west. And I'm going to throw in a little wrench here, and I'm going to say I enjoyed this movie. I think people were expecting me to hate it. I enjoyed it.
Did you see the ending?
Yeah. Although,
did you see the movie?
Although, let me confess that I did Vince watch it, meaning that my attention span was all over the place. And then, to be fair, my stream towards the end got chopped up where the audio was about 10 seconds ahead of the video. So for about 15 minutes, I had to watch it like that, which was really hard to piece together some of these final scenes.
Full disclosure, Vince just stopped watching this, and he was actually group threading us all. Hey guys, 15 minutes ready. I don't need to see the ending for this podcast.
Well, that's not true, Josh. I said that at 30 minutes. I didn't say that at 15 minutes. But I did say that.
But we were patient, and we waited for Vince to watch it.
And I finished it, but I
finished
it in a very poor quality by watching the audio not in conjunction with the video, so that was terrible. But yeah, let's pass it on to someone else. This is introductions, isn't it?
Jordan.
Yeah, this is Jordan, recording from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Tar Heel Nation down there.
Yeah, it was good. I was kind of caught off guard by the John Williams score, but the music kind of brought me in right away. So, interesting movie.
The music brings them in.
Mikey?
Yeah, this is Mikey. I'm recording from Elkhart. Gotta say, it's one of the weirder movies I've seen recently.
Pap, you're last.
Well, this is Pappy recording from Denver, Colorado. I did a quick iTunes search, and I think that will be one of 2 podcasts in the history of podcasts to review the Missouri Break. So, and based on what I heard of the other one, will probably be the best. I had a snarky little sarcastic, Randy Quaid, Jack Nicholson, Marlon Brando. It's a triangle offense that can't fail, but if you guys really like this movie, then I guys got to come out and say this movie's dog shit. And I hated it.
Okay, well, besides the dog shit comment, he had an interesting segue there. And what was that first part you said, Pat? About all the actors?
Randy Quaid?
Yeah, and about how there's only 2 podcasts ever that have done this. I mean, this has those caliber actors in it. Does that say what kind of quality movie it is? I mean, we've never heard of it before.
With a John Williams score, I feel like if I should have heard of this movie at this point, I would have. But we can get into that.
Introductions going quick.
Yeah, man, hot takes right off the bat.
Hot takes.
Dang, okay.
Flip them, get them while they're hot. Jeez.
Get this fan over here. My laptop's overheating.
All right, let's consider all those hot takes a preview for what's to come later. So let's go rewind a little bit. I kind of broke this up into what I think is the 3-act structure of the movie, and we'll kind of go through it. But the first act, I think, ends when you actually meet Clayton, who's played by Marlon Brando. He doesn't appear for the first 40-ish minutes of the movie. So the first act is, kind of breaking down really quick. Jack Nicholson, who's played by Tom, member of his posse is hung. They kind of get revenge and hang one of the people that were involved in that hanging back, and then they come up with their master plan that you'll see in the rest of the movie. And that plan involves Tom, among other things. It involves Tom moving into a ranch right next to his would-be and unbeknownst enemy, the Braxton family. So I think that kind of sums up Act 1. Does anybody have any memorable scenes or anything they want to say about that act?
Well, what you just described is about how many minutes in the movie? Like 30?
35 or 40?
40-ish, I think. Yeah.
36.
Let's compromise.
Huge problem that we have Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson in this movie, and we haven't had a good face-off between them yet. I was bored at this point.
Same.
I actually,
Super
it's funny you
boring.
say that, Vince, because it was 36 minutes. I actually read a trivia thing that says Marlon Brando doesn't appear for the first 36 minutes. That's kind of where
And what an introduction he has.
yeah, why doesn't he do that trick later? What was that trick, Mikey? You know what we're talking about?
No. This is the first attempt at me out of 3 tries trying to watch this movie. This is where I stopped the first time.
All right, Pappy, I know you actively watched the movie.
Brilliant.
What was his trick?
Well, we got a horse approaching that appears to have no rider. Gets closer to who played the actress or the main female lead? What was her name?
Kathleen Levy or something like that. I don't know. She's not very famous. It's all good. We can skip past her.
Anyway.
Kathleen Lloyd.
So yeah,
Kathleen
it
Lloyd
approaches. Yeah,
as Jane Braxton.
and Marlon Brando peeks his head around the corner of the horse and scares the shit out of her because he was like riding on the side set. Like I don't know what we'd call that. He's riding on the side of the horse, like perpendicular to or parallel to the ground. I don't know what that's called though.
And he says some like very Yoda phrase, like she's like, "Oh man, it looked like no one was riding," and he's like, "You saw what you were meant to see." Like he's a wizard that just entered town, like Gandalf, a wizard that's never late. It was basically that same kind of introduction to his character.
36
Amazing.
minutes into the movie, yeah, but
Quick side note about that: I heard different accounts that like these two actors who were like huge when this movie came out didn't get along, but I also heard that they were friends. So I honestly don't know if they didn't.
Josh, you're fake news. That sounds like fake news.
No,
man.
I heard both things when I kind of researched some stuff online, so I'm not sure like what the truth is there. But for some reason, Pappy's right. They didn't really appear together very much in this film at all, let alone the first act.
Yeah.
Right?
and these are two of the hottest actors in the world at this point. You got Brando coming off of The Godfather. You got Nicholson coming off of One Flew, like best actor winning, Oscar winning performances, like two of the best actors ever in this movie, and we waste it by not letting them face off and then letting Brando run amok with this. What is his accent? What is
He
that
has
supposed to
many.
be?
He has many.
It's Irish,
I
man. It's
don't
Irish.
know. Dude, the whole time I think Marlon Brando was just kind of like, it was almost like he was in a play, because he was just like changing his character the entire movie. It made no sense. Like I think I
It
texted
made
you
me
guys
question what type of movie I was watching. I didn't know if this was like a satire of a movie.
That's what it felt like.
I didn't think his accent was that bad. I thought it was at least Irish, maybe not good Irish, but Irish throughout.
So
I
just
just thought his acting overall was all over the place.
So
including his-
he's his by profession he is a regulator, which is basically like a hitman who is good at a firearm at long range, specifically, I guess. I had this in my notes, and I guess I'll just get to it. But if you guys remember, No Country for Old Men, the bad guy Antone, whatever his name
Sugar.
is, yeah, like. Did you guys see any parallels with those two characters?
No.
I was not thinking that at all. I
No.
could not get Young Guns out of my head after hearing that.
Seriously, Young Guns 2. This is a great movie.
Well, okay.
Jack Nicholson is
Let me put this a different way.
Billy the Kid.
As an antagonist, Clayton as an antagonist, played by Marlon Brando with, off the top of my head, Native American accent. He's a Southerner for a while. He's wearing like a Chinese hat at one point. He's mostly
His name's Robert E. Lee.
Clayton. Robert E. Lee Clayton.
Robert E. Lee Clayton, yeah.
So he's just obviously like someone who changes personas and is a hitman, or do you guys just not buy that at all and just think this is Marlon Brando like fucking around?
I wasn't buying it because I read somewhere that the director kind of just gave up halfway through and let him do whatever he wanted because Brando is like basically improving the entire thing. So I feel like Brando was like in this weird spot of coming off like Godfather fame and like just being so like rich and out of control, where he's just pulling some crazy shit like this on a movie where he's like, I'm just gonna act however I want, whenever I want, and I think that's the end product.
I thought
Yeah.
he was drunk the whole time.
Yeah, he seemed drunk, but maybe that was the character.
He's just so all over the place. Like it's so almost arrogant on his part to think that he's like being so smart with it, but it doesn't make any sense.
He's just a weirdo.
For his character to work, he has to know multiple languages. He knows like every like rancher that ever lived in the West, apparently too. So Braxton hires Clayton, who's played by Marlon Brando, and it becomes very clear that Marlon Brando's character, with all these traits of being able to switch up and how smart he is, he kind of circles the wagons on Tom and his gang pretty quickly. What do you guys think about the scene where he has kind of the revolver and he's talking about the etching and he like shoots all around and he hands it to Jack Nicholson's character and says there's one more bullet left? Pappy, you think there's anything redeeming about that scene?
Well, I was excited initially, but I mean, the dialogue to me didn't feel. It felt really disjointed, and then like even like coming in and out of that scene, the cuts are really disorienting. So it's hard to even like tell where we are when we are, because we're jumping back and forth between a B storyline because Jack Nicholson is there by himself because all of his friends are stealing horses up in Canada. So it's kind of out of the blue, and then when it comes up, it's not as epic as I would have wanted it to be. I think that Marlon Brando comes across as like a douchebag because he's shooting up some innocent plants for no reason.
What?
I don't know.
What?
To be fair,
Some
his run was
innocent
pretty
bystander plants.
Well, that's
Oh my god.
I actually kind of like that scene because I thought it was Brando's character coming in and like just mind fucking with
Same. That's kind of how
but
I
he,
got from
But
it.
he responded in the perfect way. He was like, "Nah, probably there's not another bullet in here," and like he shoots it. He goes to shoot into the ground, but there isn't a bullet, so it just clicks. And so he kind of went
Yeah.
punch for punch with his like little mind games there.
Tit
I
for
guess.
tat in Bird Law.
Bird law
He
roasted.
did, and I think both of these characters had multiple chances to off the other that they decided not to for various reasons. But we can get into that later because that's more in Act 3. But
Well, it's basically just the reverse scene, right?
yeah, if you're talking
Where-
about the tub where you get to see some Marlon Brando ass, some sweet PG.
Yeah. Okay.
ass.
First of all, what was Logan talking about when he was like, "Oh, of course." Like when he shot and like missed on purpose, then he said like, "Oh, of course." What was he talking about there? Like that he was drunk in the tub or something? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Logan?
I'm getting crickets.
The last thing he said to him in the tub before he walked out,
Yeah.
I
I
have
think
no
he said
idea.
like, "Of course you're not there" or something.
Okay.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Okay, I
'Cause
think
he's-
that they had a discussion, like their first discussion when they meet is kind of Jack Nicholson barbing him for having little guts because he's like a sniper and doesn't actually kill people face to face. Because Jack Nicholson acts like he knows how tough that is, but then when he encounters Marlon Brando in the bathtub, he's kind of shown to not be able to carry through with such a personal killing.
Yeah, and Marlon Brando does this trick where he like turns his back to Jack Nicholson. So it's like in order to kill him, he'd have to shoot him in the back, unarmed in the bathtub, which I feel like crosses a moral line for his character.
That's what I thought it was
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
But Marlon
What a
Brando,
bitch move then,
Marlon
right?
Brando answers that with setting a dude's house on fire while cross-dressing with a kerosene lamp,
Yeah,
then
what the
throwing some
fuck?
homemade knife machete into his eyeball.
Yeah, where did that come from?
All right,
It looked like a tire wrench, the thing that went through the dude's head.
yeah. Creepily enough, I read that Marlon Brando like created that himself
Oh
and
my
made that part
God.
of the movie. So if you want to get a
Of course he did.
He was just running this shit.
Yeah,
He
not in a
was
good
like
direction.
Jason. He was like Jason Voorhees, going around killing people.
Well, the funny thing is that this was directed by Arthur Penn, who has quite a Hollywood experience. I mean, he directed 3 Oscar-nominated films and very well known and like influential. But like, I mean, do you guys get that sense that Marlon Brando just came in and kind of walked all over everyone? I mean, even his equally billed. I mean, technically Marlon Brando was billed first, but their contracts are virtually equal for this film. Like, does he just walk over everybody?
Yeah, kind of, but I don't think that he's the only problem. Like, going back to the first act, you have this scene where there's this train robbery, and
Turns
It's
into
like
like
a
a
pretty, like-
comedy.
it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be some decent action in the movie, and they end up dislodging the back train car over a bridge. And Jordan, you said you liked the John Williams music. I fucking hated it.
This is like
because it
nothing
was
John
always-
Williams has ever done before.
Same. I'm with you, Pappy. I'm with you. I thought the score was terrible. It was
It sounds
so
like
cheesy.
nothing else, yeah. And it just
I-
kept coming back to this stupid like stupid like harmonica.
No.
And it would just be like,
Dude, that's the best
and this is
part.
like this is
Yeah,
like a
totally.
dude gets his finger shot off and this happens. This is like after a big train robbery scene that happens. It's like, wait, why are you taking me out of this supposed action with this like
No.
no?
Okay. Time out. Pappy, you are confusing two
Perfect.
scenes, first of all.
No, I'm
No,
talking about
he's
two
not.
different
The
scenes
train-
where the same music
Yeah.
is
Okay.
used.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying they keep coming back to this like
Brilliant.
whoopsie daisy. Like what? What movie am I watching right now?
What year is it?
I thought it was just edited weird. There's
Yeah.
like some.
Definitely.
There's at one point there's a guy like rounding up horses and moving them into Canada or out of Canada. Was he stealing them into Canada
they're
or
stealing
something?
them.
Yeah,
If I
the
know
whole
what you're talking
gang,
about.
half the gang is stealing the horses.
Yeah, and it's cutting back to like Jack Nicholson at the ranch with his like girlfriend, and it's just like days are passing by there, and like it's cutting back to Canada, and it's like, it's one day here, and it's like going back and forth between these two timelines, I guess, and it's like really confusing as to what's going on.
Yeah, but this is coming from someone who's confused by Boss Baby.
Oh, I missed that. Darn it.
That is true.
Just joking, Mikey. I'm sorry.
No, that is classic.
I felt like the timeline was confusing, but it almost seemed like they tried to keep it tied together with the growth of his garden and showing like the progression of a season there. So like it took place over the course of maybe like 3 months total. Like, does that seem right?
That's
The thing is,
interesting.
he's the shittiest gardener. It was dirt the entire movie.
No, man, there's definitely
Maybe it's a
plants and
sick
shit in the
ass
end there.
irrigation system though. That
Yeah.
he uses to bang that girl.
Yeah, I
with.
got mixed signals on that too because
Yeah,
Marlon Brando actually, like, his last one up on him is kind of like, I can tell you're not actually a farmer because you suck ass at it. Like, that's almost exactly what he says. So I don't get it. Is his garden good or not?
Well, I think towards the end, wasn't the like last scene of this film kind of that point where he said he was going to go like in between some like mountains and find where it's supposed to have water running all year round. And I think
Yeah.
a major farmer's issue is always having enough water as well as sunlight. So
Okay,
I
but
think
this
I think
is
it's
my
maybe
whole
just conditions. Maybe
This is my whole point, though, is that we're talking about a fucking western with Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson. We're debating like the merits of his gardening. That's not a good.
holy
sign
shit.
for a
You got a
movie.
point. You've got a point.
Okay, well, before we move on to
That's
Act
boring.
3, which you and Vince are getting at completely, one learning moment for me in this movie was when they stole the horses like Mikey was talking about. They're stealing them from the Canadian Mountie police. And I feel like as an American growing up, I've always considered that police force as kind of like a joke. Like, basically...
Dudley Do Right.
Yeah, like farting around like Terrence and Phillip, basically. And like, it's kind of
Oh, they were SEAL Team 6 in this movie.
yeah, it's kind of interesting to hear that was once their reputation, right?
Still seemed like a joke.
Well, they were like they had like the British flag too, which was kind of interesting. But even though this movie's called The Missouri Breaks, they weren't leaving from Missouri, right, Vince? This is a different. You
Takes place in Montana.
Well, yeah, I guess it was in Montana where the Missouri River breaks in the land, and that's where the name came from.
Vince, I bet there's some cool climbing spots in that area.
Oh, I guarantee there are.
For sure. Anyway, on to Act 3. Yeah, so we already talked about, this is kind of like I compare it to like the Home Alone, like they're finally in the house and Kevin gets to like pull out all his tricks kind of montage. Marlon Brando goes through Clayton's posse and kind of kills them off one by one. Jordan, did any of those strike you as particularly interesting or memorable?
Honestly, not particularly interesting. This is where my third nap ended up happening.
Oh, come on. No one watched
No.
Everyone.
I fell asleep. No, I fell asleep and then I rewound for like 40 minutes, so
Okay.
I ended up watching it like 2 or 3 times, honestly.
Sounds like Princess Mononoke.
Yeah. Whoa, hey.
No,
Would you sleep during Young
No,
Guns,
so yeah,
Jordan?
no, of course not.
Then why sleep for Young Guns too?
That's the real question.
There weren't enough callbacks.
Oh, God.
What were you gonna say though, Jordan? There was one of those scenes that stuck out to you or not?
No, that honestly, I not really. This is where I really started to go off the rails for me.
Pun intended.
It seemed like they were like always literally catching these dudes with their pants down. One dude's fucking this dude's wife against a barn and gets shot.
That was weird. That was
Even
weird.
though this is a PG movie.
Yeah.
It's
Sexy.
PG.
Full penetration in a PG.
And then that was like an affair, right? That was like adultery happening right outside.
Like a really quick affair, like a one night deal.
Also, it didn't look
How-
like really like everyone was on board. If you know, like it looked right, or was it?
No, you said
I think so.
No,
Pappy.
no.
Okay, never. I don't know.
No, it's funny because in the group thread, Vince said, "Man, this rape scene is rough," and we were all like, "Wait, there's no rape scene in this movie. What's he talking about?"
I thought for sure that's what was happening there, because like that, like wasn't like they were like it was like a battle scene almost, and then like they're just like banging. I don't know. It seemed weird.
Does anybody recall that?
It wasn't
scene?
very sensual.
It didn't seem like a rape to me.
Well, it just didn't seem
The
like
setup was
everyone
she
was
said she's
having.
gonna give him a blanket too, so she seemed like she was being kind of flirty ahead of time, in my opinion.
Okay.
But
Jesus
it also
Christ.
seemed like she was insulting him during the deed.
Yeah, she's playing
That's
hard.
that's the part that I was seeing. It seemed like she was not into it, and that's why I was like, "Why is this so weird?"
But getting back to
Yeah,
that's
Jesus.
one, and the second dude is taking a shit and gets his heart blown out through the shitter.
Yeah,
It's like both these guys are very
in front of a little
vulnerable.
kid.
Yeah, very vulnerable when they get shot.
so was that kid like? Why was he acting all weird? Like following him around like a little Bambi.
He was paying him to get him liquor.
What movie was I watching?
I don't know. Dude.
I feel like how many? It's like Blade Runner. How many cuts were on this thing?
This was the director's
He's like a
cut.
li-
Oh, I missed it.
He's like a little coal miner kid. He's like, oh, I don't know. Just
He's
probably
like the feral
disoriented and
kid from
hungry
Mad
and
Max.
shit.
He's a Mad Max feral kid.
Okay, so yeah, one of his posses gets killed while taking a poop on the outhouse, and the other one gets killed while having a brief affair with some farmer's mistress.
A tryst.
Yeah, and like the third one gets killed when a transvestite Marlon Brando like,
No, drag. He wasn't trans.
he sets up a string line above a house and sets a kerosene lamp.
Yeah, what?
Shoots it from
pipe
afar, and the house explodes on fire. Wooden house, and
Okay, wait, yeah. I want to unpack what would have to go into setting up a trap. So you're telling me that
He has a
Marlon
real Home
Brando,
Alone moment.
that
Yeah, it
Marlon
was.
Brando, who may or may not be in drag, goes out there and strings a wire above this dude's cabin while he's sleeping, rather than just going in and shooting him. Strings a wire above his cabin and lights this kerosene thing in it, and then waits till night and then throws it in a dress and shoots it. That is the most ridiculous plan ever. That is so stupid.
Do you think he's just like bored?
Kind of
Yes.
worked though, right?
Is he just like so smart?
It definitely worked.
Is he just like so good at his job?
I
that
think
he's
he just-
like bored.
I think he's just fucking with him, yeah.
it's really odd because this could have been a more interesting movie if it was actually Marlon Brando figuring out how to kill these people at these times, but it just happens in like such a quick montage of like deaths that you don't really get that feeling.
Yeah.
That scene ends with so it's kind of like the other right-hand man of Jack Nicholson's character, and he actually convinces Marlon Brando that, hey, Tom was in that cabin too, but he had too much pride to come out. So apparently Marlon Brando buys that and just goes on his merry way and like sleeps. And this is just like part of the montage. He goes to sleep, cuts to black, and fades up with Jack Nicholson right in his face, having slit his throat.
You kind of breezed over the part where he tells the horse that that's the only woman he's ever loved.
Yeah, I was
Since
going to
it's a
breeze
character
over that
film.
whole
Oh,
weird
yeah.
monologue thing, but
Let's-
go ahead, dive into it, Pappy.
No, I mean, like, why? Why? Like, none, like, the character just completely breaks down into, like, I guess you're supposed to assume that he's going crazy or he's always been crazy, but like it's not convincing and there's no arc to the character. He's just like a complete scatter plot. So it's not like cathartic to see that how crazy he really is. It's just like, dude, are you talking about fucking a horse right now? Like, for real?
Well, I think there's two schools of thought that, yeah, this is, again, just Marlon Brando doing whatever the hell he wants whenever he wants. But maybe, and just maybe, Marlon Brando plays what a psychopath would do, and it's not really for you to be able to figure out why.
Hey, if this was a brilliant performance, it was way over my head. That's not what I was picking
Yeah,
up.
is the way Brando's performing? Is that how the director, like, what did that director like tell Brando to do? Like,
Hey,
like a
just come
crazy
in and
person?
act crazy every single day.
because I don't know, he's playing crazy pretty good, but if that's not how the director wanted it to be,
I mean, what do you guys think happens on the set of a movie when something like this happens? Like, how do you keep that power of control, and how can... I read the same thing Vince read, that the director, Arthur Penn, kind of, quote, gave up on him.
So
And just let him...
Yeah.
where was Arthur Penn in his career? Had he done Bonnie and Clyde? Like, was he
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
a big deal already?
yeah, yes.
So everyone was a big deal then. Basically, right?
Yeah, so I think some people praise Arthur Penn for, instead of editing Marlon Brando way down or actually trying hard to corral him, kind of embrace the moment and just let that ride. Is there any redeeming quality to that at all? That's
No.
kind of what I'm trying to push towards here.
No, I'm saying that's chicken shit, and that there could have been a good movie in here, and that I don't have a problem at all with Nicholson's performance, but Brando's performance is completely derailing, and I think generally I think that maybe the screenplay isn't the best. I think that it's not like the most compelling Western that I've ever seen from a writing standpoint, and then maybe Brando was trying to fix it. So I'm not saying that all the blame should go to Brando, but whatever he was trying to do didn't work. But I don't think that he was taking gold and turning it into crap.
Vince, you said in the thread, like, something about he's trying not at all or way too hard. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, I was trying to figure out his performance the entire time, and I came to the conclusion maybe he's just not trying at all, or he's trying so hard that it's obvious. And that was kind of my take on it. But I would have to agree with Pap, too, that I think it's kind of on the director to call the shots here and not let the actor just, like, go crazy and act not good.
Mikey, what would you do if you were a director, Mikey, trying to deal with Marlon Brando?
I kind of have to disagree with you guys because I think this movie is just so boring, but Brando is the most entertaining part of the movie.
Interesting.
For me.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
For me,
Like,
For me. Fuck off.
I don't know. I think like him going around and killing that posse was the most watchable part of the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that. I think somebody kind of already mentioned it, but the whole like killing of the posse in the end, it would have been much better played out over like a longer period and kind of even messing with the gang's heads a little bit more, so they're almost like he could be lurking around any corner, and instead it's just a weird like montage of him attacking them separately. I'm not even sure if the other ones like always know if the other gang members have been killed and stuff. Like it's just very jumpy, I guess.
I think that one thing that we may have like kind of skipped thinking about kind of in retrospect is actually while you watch the movie the first time, I think maybe Marlon Brando's performance is so jarring and the editing is maybe kind of bad, but it lends to like a sense of maybe some tension throughout the movie. Did you guys feel tension at all, or were you just paying attention to like a shit performance, basically?
What do you mean by tension?
Like you feel like someone could get maybe killed kind of brutally at any time.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
I could
I
maybe
kind of
feel
agree
that.
with that.
Maybe.
But
I completely disagree with that because
Love it.
watching this movie, I know for a fact that these two main characters aren't going down to the final scene, and I pretty much know that all of the gang members are going down. That was like so telegraphed from a mile away. There was no fucking actual tension there, and the fact that this guy's supposed to be a great sniper, our payoff is we don't see him lining up the shot. We don't see him like stalking his people. It's just these people going about their day, and like maybe like a jump scare is what we get, but we don't get tension. Nothing's built. It's completely weak.
Hammer down.
I hate this movie.
Hammer down.
I hate this movie.
That's interesting.
Okay, I'll say this. I did the same thing on Tombstone, and I apologize. I have a lot of pent-up rage from the Time Bandits episode, and I take it out on other people. So I apologize.
On Western movies.
Did you just bring up Time Bandits on purpose?
Seems like it.
No, moving on. Mikey, did you have any tension?
I don't know. This is a weird movie for sure. Are we doing yeses and nos?
No,
right
he
now,
asked
or
if you
what are we
had
doing?
any tension in your thighs.
In general, yeah.
Hard pivot there. Jeez Louise.
No.
Someone spoiled the end of this thing already.
Okay, so I did at the beginning, but Act 3 kind of coalesces into, Marlon Brando is killed off screen. And it cuts to black, and Jack Nicholson apparently gets over his fear of killing a person that's vulnerable, slits his throat, kind of makes a cryptic line, and then him and Jane Braxton, who have this love interest kind of throughout the film, kind of unceremoniously leave each other and go their own separate paths. Is there anything else you'd like to add to the ending? I mean, it is honestly pretty abrupt and
It was terrible because the love interest was building the entire movie, and at the end they're just like bye, and then they go in their separate ways after Nicholson slit the other man.
Yeah, and they seemed
it was
pretty
bad.
okay with it.
Because the whole love interest was
Well, it's
ruined.
weird because he just killed her dad too,
it's a little awkward.
Lame.
and she has
Yeah,
to like
but
stick
she
around.
also seemed pretty okay with that too.
She told him what room he
Yeah.
was in.
Well, she was about to leave, but I think the reason that they're like meh kind of at the end is that she has to like stick around and sell off like his estate and everything, and then he's gonna like move on. But she asks him like, where do you think you'll be in 6 months? And he just tells her like, this is where I'm gonna go. So I think it's pretty obvious that they're gonna like meet back up.
Jordan,
No.
No,
I thought it was obvious.
I
They're
don't know.
done.
really.
Hopeless romantic.
Did I
Yeah.
Wow,
totally
he
misread
is
that?
a hopeless romantic.
You poor fool.
No, she says if you were guessing like where are you gonna be if a few months from now, and he like literally tells her, and she's like, that's a pretty good guess.
Yeah, she's going to have to guess any farm that's near water in the mountains between Montana and Canada. She's just going to ride to every one.
and find him.
it seemed more specific than that. But maybe
This is
I'm
a
wrong.
girl, Jordan. She can't read a map. There's no way she's finding it.
Oh god.
Whoa, speaking of off-color things, this movie was not approved by the animal rights activists.
Jesus Christ, no joke.
They killed a rabbit on screen. I guess, I read quote that quote several horses died when they were crossing the ford.
That's so bad.
Jeez.
That is so bad. Why? Why be that bad?
What do you mean?
Why are they killing horses to film a movie? That's so terrible. Like, how are they letting them die, or how are the horses dying? That's terrible.
Pappy is it? I feel like this is mostly the reason Pappy didn't like the movie.
I mean, I'm not
Critters
gonna
got
lie. I
hurt.
don't know like what the historical context for animal treatment is at this time. So I don't know if this is especially bad for early 70s, but like, of course it's not okay today, and of course I hate it. But like, I don't know if it's outside of the norm for the time at all. Really?
Yeah, probably.
It was.
Well, that's extra bad then. So
Is it worse than the dog movie a couple weeks ago? A Dog's Purpose.
You mean Rock Dog, I think.
That dog got paid millions.
Right.
Rock Doge.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right. I guess you guys, especially Pappy, are pretty talked out on this movie. I think we can all agree, though,
actually,
that
I have one more thing to say though. Interestingly, that both the main actors signed on, according to Wikipedia, signed on for a little bit of a pay cut, but took back end profits, and both of them got fucked on that deal to the point even where Jack Nicholson sued the studio for more money. So
Really?
also interesting is that this movie came out about a month before Outlaw Josie Wales, and Outlaw Josie Wales is considered like a classic Western, very well known, great ratings, and it's just kind of interesting how this movie directly was
Why didn't you
buried.
pick that one?
My dad didn't randomly bring that one up.
The Longs and their westerns. I love it.
He was so
I
pumped
love
about
it.
this. Josh, I didn't realize until you said it earlier in the pod, but I can't believe this is rated PG. They have sex at least a couple of times. They cuss a few times, and they like just drop N-bombs
Oh yeah,
at
they
least
do.
once.
I forgot about that. They do.
Which like
If
totally
you
caught me
showed
off
this in our
guard.
elementary school classroom, you're getting fired.
Probably in
Yeah,
2017.
how is it PG? It doesn't make any sense.
This goes back to the
1976.
Gremlins episode where this is before the PG-13 rating, and you were either PG or R, and this is more PG than R.
I want to see the R cut of this.
Those were the
movie.
days.
We feel like we've gotten more liberal since the 60s or whatever, but it's kind of funny. This is a PG movie. But speaking of PG movies, I feel like we can all agree that Home Alone owes most of its success to this movie. Right, Pat?
I would not agree to that. I'd take my name off that.
Why do you say that? I don't.
Pat, Mikey, explain it. Mikey gets it.
The zip line fire.
That whole montage, like being an ending of a movie, does that not remind you directly of Home Alone?
Well, I was just thinking, aren't both scored by John Williams too?
There you go, the genius behind it all.
Found the common thread.
All right, Pappy, since you're the most obvious, let's start with you. We can go into yes or no's. Give us your last freak out about it.
So I mean, here's what I really think happened, and I don't think that it's again all Marlon Brando's fault. I think the script is really bad, and the characters are underdeveloped, and so a really good actor came in and was like, "All right, I'm gonna just fucking throw a curveball in and hope that it works." And because of that, the movie was then retroactively edited to be a comedy. I don't think that the music works in a lot of the scenes, and it's just weird that you have these scenes of comedy with also these dramatic scenes, and it's not compelling, and it's not a good movie. I didn't even realize the whole animal thing. That's kind of shitty, but it's definitely a no for me. And just if you're really wondering whether or not you should ask this movie, ask yourself, a movie with Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson, scored by John Williams with an iconic director, and I've never heard of it, is it worth my time? And that should be a self-explaining answer.
Hammered down.
All right, Mikey.
This is a strange movie. I think Brando is the only thing worth watching in this movie just because he plays the character so strange. And that is like something you might want to see if you're into bad movies or performances. But I agree that like this movie, I think the script was just really, really bad, or Brando ended up just giving this director a loop for what he had to work with, and this is the best he could come up with because it's all over the place. It's a really weird movie, and I gotta say no.
No dog or just no?
Oh.
No dog. That's implied. No
Those
dog.
are no dogs.
Okay, Jordan.
Rock
no
dog.
dogs, Jordan.
Yeah, I would agree with Mikey in that the script is pretty piss poor. There's like a few one-liners that I think Jack Nicholson has that made me laugh a lot. Like the one time he calls the girl a bitch.
Oh, that was so weird. That was weird.
We didn't go into it, but like,
do you remember
okay,
that line?
She cried.
Kathleen Lloyd's character, I guess you kind of catch on, is like super promiscuous, and she's like
She's weird.
very aggressive in her sexual advances throughout the movie.
Is she promiscuous? Because what I read said she was virginal.
She claimed to
Jesus
be, she claimed
Christ.
to be a
What?
virgin.
Maybe
What?
she's quote virginal, but she's like very ready to stop being quote virginal,
Oh, she wants to fuck Jack.
and
out.
she does quite quickly. She gets her way there, but
Yeah.
keep going.
At one point he says he says to her, "People have been neglecting to tell you what a nasty little bitch you are. I'm just I'm just making up for their negligence." And I laughed so much.
That is direct quote too.
So there's like a few little parts like that kind of made me laugh. And there's little bits in pieces in the script that I think are good. Like there's maybe a good movie in there somewhere, but this definitely isn't it. And yeah, like I said, I think the whole ending sequence when like the montage of killing those guys, that could have been done way better as well. And like I said, I did fall asleep several times and had to rewind and rewatch. So
Oh, Lord.
it's gonna be a no dog for me.
Yeah, and it's
3
2
no
hours.
doge.
It's 2 hours.
It's a long.
2 hours and 6 minutes. All right. But Vince, you already said on the thread that you like this movie. Are you going to hold true to that, or are you going to puss out because they all...
Stick to your young guns, Vince.
Oh, if I could just stick to my young guns. So, it's a no dog for sure. But let me say, I didn't hate watching this. I love Westerns of any sort, and I feel like bad Westerns I still enjoy. So I did like watching this, and I did say I liked it, and I hold true to that. But it's a no just because it's not a great movie. Performances don't add up. Marlon Brando's performance, although weird and maybe trying to get into the character, doesn't fit for me. And then the rest of the script as well as just overall movie did not add up. But I enjoyed it, but it's a no.
All right, and as the person who chose this movie, I really enjoyed a lot of scenes. I think one thing we didn't talk about is the great Quaid giving the performance of a lifetime. Really held me. It really helped.
Yeah, dude.
Really saved
Tearing up over it. Performance.
Quaid's performance for Lifetime really saved the movie, I think. And the end scene where the final climax is done off screen.
Whoa,
did
dude, what do you
a lot
mean by
for
that?
me. The fact that they never explained how Marlon Brando, who's ever the genius, gets tracked and throat slit by this amateur farmer.
He's no farmer.
Even though they,
Horse thief.
Yeah, someone that can't even rob a train right and has to like climb all "Oh brothers, where art thou?" down
Nice reference.
down the latticing. But anyway, a lot of good intentions going into this movie, trying to see what the older generation was into by taking a request from my father
Sorry,
for
Dad.
this.
Hi, Jeff.
But Dad, I gotta say this is a no dog.
Worse than Time Bandits.
That's a hard no dog.
Unless you are like some huge movie buff who like wants to get really into like a Marlon Brando bad movie, or just see a Jack Nicholson movie because you love everything, but that's not me. And so yeah, no dog. So that is 5 no dogs.
That movie is expired.
We have to have a new category now. No dogs. Brilliant.
I feel like we went all the way around the world there. Pappy, I'll give you one last chance. Do you want to flip around to your no dog?
No, dog. I don't.
It stays.
All right. I do have trivia prepared. If you guys are ready.
Born ready.
Mikey, trivia, ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, this movie came out in 1976, and I wanted to get a little nostalgic and think about what maybe our parents were watching back then. So, I looked up the highest grossing movies for kind of the surrounding years up to and including 1976. Mikey, we'll start with you. You can pick a year.
78.
All right, 1978. Mikey, what was the highest grossing movie in 1978?
Was Star Wars 78?
Is that your official guess?
Yes.
That is incorrect. So, via our order that we predetermined we'd go in, Vince, your next clue for 78 is...
So do I have to go 78?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's how it works.
Okay.
You get a clue,
Mikey.
though.
Yeah, and it progressively gets easier, supposedly. So some of
okay.
them are quotes, some of them are character names, some of them are actors and actresses. You'll see.
I have a raging clue right now.
Thank you. I heard you say that earlier too, so that's great. Really enjoy that. So Mikey, 1978's movie was not Star Wars. Vince, your clue is, quote, You're the one that I want. End quote.
Who's grunting?
Me.
Gonna need an answer in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know if I can give an answer. I'm so bad at trivia.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
Pass.
Yeah.
Pappy, you are up. So 1978, You Are the One That I Want, and this is a romantic comedy. Got about 5 seconds.
Parent Trap?
Parent Trap is incorrect. Jordan.
Yeah.
In addition to those clues, the two main characters are Danny and Sandy.
Oh, Jesus, fuck. Sorry, Kelsey.
Jordan needed an answer in about 5.
It's Grease.
What?
Grease.
Fucking fuck.
Grease is correct.
I kept wanting to say Footloose, and like that is not right.
Jordan gets 1970. That was one of my more shocking years that actually Grease ran the table in 1978. Vince,
Oh, boy.
you can choose your year: 74, 75, 76, or 77.
Well, I'm going to choose 76. I had a movie in mind.
All right. What was the highest grossing movie?
Well, I know Taxi Driver is 76, and I love that movie, so I'm just going to call that.
Taxi Driver is incorrect.
Oh, well. I had to say it.
Pappy, you are up next.
Pass that to the Pap.
1976, highest
Pass it
grossing
on the
movie.
Pap hand side.
And the first clue is the great Carl Weathers was in this
What is
movie.
Rocky?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Correct.
I'll
Pappy
go
nabs that up.
1977, and I'll say Star Wars.
I'll never win a trivia.
Right? It's me, right?
Pappy supersedes knowing when he goes, but yes, he is correct anyway.
Boom.
All right, there's still 2 years left, and Jordan, you get to
What?
pick.
Which direction are we going? Which years are left?
Wait, why'd Pappy get
Years
back-to-back rock dogs?
It was my turn.
So he,
my
yeah,
turn.
it's his turn to choose a year, and he already knew 77 was Star Wars,
You
so
just double dipped on rock dogs.
he
right?
double dipped the chip.
Balls deep in rocks deep in dogs.
Jordan,
Hey, what the hell, man?
1974 or 1975?
Let's do 74.
1974, highest grossing movie. What's your guess?
Rock dog.
I literally have no idea. I'm gonna say I can't even think of a single movie. Rock Dog.
Nice guess. Good guess.
Lord, dude. Are you on
Man,
a movie podcast?
Pappy has got to be feeling pretty good about
I'm
it.
sitting
Yeah,
pretty comfy. I'm getting my
It's
movie.
back-to-back-to-back Pap. I hate this.
It's the Lakers in the early 2000s.
All right, Mikey, your clue is, quote, "Hey, where are the white women at?" End quote.
I should know this.
Oh, Jesus.
What year is this? 74?
Yes.
Uh,
Got about 5 seconds.
Shaft?
Is this a rap video?
Shaft is incorrect. Vince, your next clue is, this is a Western comedy.
Blazing Saddles?
Correct.
Nice.
Woo!
Vince gets a
Give
point.
me a point.
All right, I feel like any casual viewer needs to be rooting for either Jordan or Vince to get a point
Why?
to force an overtime.
Vince.
The people's champion.
All right, so Vince, or Mikey, does this start with Mikey? Yeah, Mikey. 1975, Mikey, do you have a guess to throw out?
You got to choke on it.
Jaws?
That sounds weird.
Mikey steals the game for Pappy.
To give it to
Pappy
Pap.
wins
God
with
damn it,
2
Mikey.
points.
I'd like to thank God. I'd like to thank Marlon Brando. I'd like to thank.
That is who God is.
I literally. I mean, I didn't expect to win like this. And
Shut up, Pappy. Shut up and think of a movie. You can get us on Twitter, spoilers_pod. You can write us an email if you'd like, podcastspoilers@gmail.com. We also have a website at podcastspoilers.com. Check that out. We have the episodes and stuff up on there. What else? We got a Instagram now, Podcast Spoilers. Posting out pics of upcoming stuff.
Can we do a shout out to the Rick and Morty first taste episode? Can you explain
First
what first
Taste.
taste is, Vince?
So yeah, first taste. We did that this morning. So last night, Rick and Morty streamed season 3, episode 1. And we were going to try to do it last night. We didn't get it off, but we got it out this morning. And it's supposed to be like a first take, or at least a first time watching like a new episode of the show. So that's kind of what I think a new little segment we're going to do. We're going to call it First Taste.
Still working on the name.
Jordan,
Name in progress.
First chug.
Oh, no, that's it.
First gargle.
First chug. Ooh. Do we have any other plugs?
Who's playing the song?
Oh, Josh Hensley
Josh,
from the Rutabaga, hooking it up.
the other Josh.
All the Joshes.
So Jordan?
Pappy, do you have a movie yet? You bastard.
Yeah, Pappy.
I'm sick of Pappy.
Choose a movie, man.
Sick of them.
Do you guys want to go to the 80s or no?
Fuck you. No.
What you got, Pap?
All right, well, I'm going
No.
to take you back to a magical time called the 1980s.
Always.
I hate you.
And I think I might be... Aliens. The sequel to
Oh, with the recently deceased Bill Paxton.
I
No.
Aliens.
I hate you, Pappy.
Cool.
Yeah, so...
I sense a pivot in your future.
Nope, Aliens.
Yeah.
I've never
I
pivoted,
sense
never
I'm not going to be on this episode.
will. Why?
I'm kidding.
Before we sign off here, Pappy, what are the chances that Stevie will sign in for a Pappy
0%.
chosen- 0.
0%. Yeah.
Might be a small crew though, because I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch this movie.
Yeah, you're
It's going to be
Jordan.
just Pappy
Right.
talking about aliens.
All right, I guess that was spoilers.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess so.
Boss baby.
Bye?
See ya.
That was spoiler.
You just double dipped on rock dogs right there.